I am Tamara Elliott Rogers from the class of 1970 from Abbot Academy. My classmates know me as Tammy, and they are welcome to call me that. The rest of you are actually not. And I've been a very active volunteer for Phillips Academy for well over 2 decades. And I am now a charter trustee at the Academy. And what I simply wanted to say is that I was a 2-year day student at Abbot from Lowell, Massachusetts. And Abbot was the single most important thing that has ever happened to me in my entire life. And every moment of my volunteerism over all these years has been a tribute to Abbot and to Miss St. Pierre and Mrs. Finberry, and an effort to in some way feel as though I'm repaying a debt that can never be repaid. It's been marvelous being a volunteer, and it's been especially wonderful to think that Abbot remains alive to those of us who remember it so well and cherish it so much. We are really fortunate today that we will have another welcome from our new head of school, Dr. Raynard Kington, and then an interesting program which will include some breakout sessions, because so much of the Abbot tea and the pleasure of it is when we have a chance to talk to each other. So let me introduce Raynard right now. And Raynard, you can take the floor.
Thank you. Well, it's a pleasure. This is my first Abbot tea. I know it won't be my last one. Good afternoon and welcome. And thank you for inviting me. The service of this community on the Board of Trustees for the Abbot Academy Fund and the Abbot and Andover Committee of Alumni Council, all are just a few of the examples in which the school remains very much present in the hearts and minds of this community. Our students and faculty continue to benefit from the connections forged at Abbot. I am slowly making my way through different parts of campus and getting detailed tours in different parts. And a couple of weeks ago, I had the detailed tour of Abbot, which was fascinating. It was really wonderful, and I had already gotten into the habit of pausing at the gates with the inscription, enter into understanding that you may go forth to nobler living. It's pretty impressive. The Abbot legacy of excellence is really cared for it in so many ways in the Brace Center for Gender Studies, the Abbot Academy Fund, the involvement in the Knowledge and Goodness campaign. And I just want to make a note that the Board of Trustees recently approved entering the design phase of the highly anticipated music building. This is the state-of-art facility that will be located on Phillips Street, just behind the Peabody Institute. And in some ways, the creation of this new music center will sort of shift the center of gravity a bit in campus, and will certainly increase activity on that side of campus and adjacent to the Abbot campus. And I think it will be the anchor of what we hope will be sort of a cultural corridor with the music building and the Peabody, and then across the lawn to Addison. Now, it's also directly across the backyard from Phelps House. So we're hoping that we'll be able to hear the music from our backyard. Earlier this spring, I participated in a topping off ceremony for the Pan Athletic Center. And one key piece of this will be the Abbot Academy Dance Suites. It was made possible by funds from the Abbot Academy Fund, and it'll be the new home for dance and an ongoing representation of another part of the Abbot legacy. I'm providing state-of-the-art facilities for our dance program and a space for performance. So lots of activities happening. The Abbot remains Abbot 1T, as I'm making sure that I remember, is very much still alive on campus. And I thank you for inviting me to the tea.
Okay, and this is Sarah Ingram, and I am happy to say thank you for coming to your first Abbot tea, even though we have absolutely no real tea to offer you. Sorry about that.
Next
But
time.
next time we promise, and we hope to see you at every Abbot Tea. And I really appreciate the detailing of the traditions that follow from Abbot in today's Andover campus. You've done half my work for me, so I can just, probably lay back and sit and enjoy myself. But again, my name's Sarah Ingram, and I'm an Abbott alum of 1971. It's our 50th reunion. I don't know how it happened. It seems like yesterday or 100 years ago. I'm never sure which, but I'm so glad to be back, even though it's unfortunately virtual. We'll get back to the real thing soon. And Zoom is fast becoming the real thing. We had a lot of people show up that we've never seen at the actual reunion. So it's been very gratifying, and I'm sure everybody else is finding the same.
Well, we're hoping that maybe one year we'll be able to host it at Phelps House.
Awesome. That would be awesome. And you'll have tea and Heavenly Dew, which you may or may not have heard about. It's big Abbott dessert. We have a cookbook, so we'll give you all those recipes. We won't make you cook them all.
We will be there.
Okay, it's a deal. It's a deal. I have the privilege of being a member of the Abbot at Andover committee, and our mission statement is to make sure that the spirit and traditions of Abbot carry through to the Andover community of today, which is one reason I thank Dr. Kington for all his detailing of how Abbot is alive on campus today. And, he did it in more detail than I was going to do. So that's fabulous. I really
Well, there's another thing that I didn't mention that I'll just throw in there. So we're, as you know, in the trustee room in George Washington Hall, there are a number of paintings around the room. And it turns out they're all men. And we are looking for, we're considering finding a place to put, we think Madam Abbott, her painting up into the trustee room. We think it's important that there be a presence there.
I like it. I vote for it, but
we just have to figure out how to move everything around to make it work.
I'm sure she could, make it up the hill. She's a little elderly, but I'm sure she could do it. That's a great idea. Thank you so much. I love all the thinking about it and the appreciation. One of the projects that the committee has been working hard on is the Abbott Oral History project. And this is a program, it's an ongoing program. It did have a beginning, but I can't say it will have no end, because unfortunately someday there will be no more Abbott alumni. So what we're trying to do now is capture our voices, our stories, and our reminiscence. These will be stored in the Abbott archives, and the Abbott archives are certainly full of wonderful objects that people have donated or that Andover received during the merger. But there's nothing like the addition to those objects to hearing the actual voices of people talking about their experiences. And then perhaps you have the luxury of going and getting an object that, was like what somebody is talking about. I encourage all Abbott alums to participate. It's very easy. It's all done on phone. We tried to make it as low tech as possible. But we did try to use technology so that location would not be a barrier, and you would not have to be on campus to have the oral histories done. So that's enabled people to, sit at home, have a lovely conversation for 45 minutes, and you've created an oral history. A lot of people say, I don't have anything to say, or I had a really great time and I don't know, there's nothing special about me. Or people will say, I was pretty miserable. You don't want to have that recorded. Wrong on both counts. We want to hear everything. Future generations are going to want to know the good, the bad, and ugly. So no matter how you feel that you think you're going to come across, you'll find as you get going during the histories that you're having a good time, you're remembering things that you haven't thought of in a cajillion years. And in the end, as I like to say, we've never lost a victim yet. Everybody has lived through it. And at the end, everybody says, I'm so glad I did that. I had a really good time. And I'm glad this is going to be recorded. So the purpose of the oral histories is to be educational resources for the staff here at Andover and for students alike. They have a lot of projects where they access the Abbot archives. And as I said, this will just be an extra added resource. So please participate. I have attached to this Zoom, I believe, under the chat, and tell me if I'm wrong, it's under the chat function, and there's a little area that says file. And I think if you click on that, there's an attachment that gives you information on how to find out more about the oral history, how to sign up, how to ask questions. If you just want to ask questions, don't worry. I'm not going to suck you in and make you do it if you don't want to. You can just ask your questions and decide. And also on that document, there's information on the Abbot at Andover committee itself and the 3 times a year e-newsletter that talks about various projects that relate to Abbot being on campus today. So that also has information and contacts for the committee. So I encourage you to access that. If you can't get it, contact OAE, and I'm sure that yeah, we can make that happen for sure. So
Excuse me, Sarah.
Yeah.
My chat says it's been disabled.
Oh, okay. So I think maybe what we could do is send an email to all the attendees, or
We can
yeah.
send a follow-up email, and you should be able to use the chat as well. I see one from Gay Luster, so it looks like it is open.
And I think that is where the attachment is, correct?
So I will look at that, Sarah. I'm not sure if you're able to do that or not, but we did attach it to the event and we can send it out in an email.
Okay, that's how it worked when I practiced at home. So I don't know. My cats were in the way, so maybe I didn't do it correctly. So I was saying the oral histories are housed in the Abbot archives. And that leaves me a lovely segue to our next segment that I have the honor to introduce. And that is Dr. Paige Roberts, who is the, I want to get this correct, so I'm going to read it, Director of Archives and Special Collections, Oliver Wendell Holmes Library. Paige was unfortunately not able to be here today. She had something that overlapped, but she wanted to make sure, you know, that she was imparting the same information that she would if she was presenting here. So she recorded her presentation, and I will see you on the other side of it, but we'll play her presentation now.
Hi, everyone. My name is Paige Roberts, Director of Archives and Special Collections at Phillips Academy. I'm here to talk about the Abbot Archives project that was initiated and led by Leslie Hendricks, class of 1973. And it was also made possible with the financial support of the Abbot Academy Fund in 2015 and again in 2016. The Abbot Archives project was completed finally with an event on campus in April 2017. I'll show you a great picture of that. So some alumni came and helped us identify photographs as part of this event. So today, what I'd like to talk about is the various Abbot materials that are online and quickly how to access them. So we'll go back to my website, which is right here. This is what the main page looks like. If you scroll down, you will come to, under digital collections, Abbot Academy digital collections. So there are several different types of material in here. There are publications, all the school publications. Under highlights, the archival collection, photographs, all the Abbot Academy photographs, and secondary source histories of Abbot. So just as an example, there's been an English teacher who has had students researching clothing at PA and Abbot and has used student handbooks. So I thought this might be kind of a fun little example. So if we click on student handbooks, for instance, it will bring up the list of all the student handbooks, the links, and they're arranged chronologically. So if we scroll down, just for fun, why don't we click on 6061? And this brings up a scan of the entire student handbook. If you click at the lower right, it will fill up the page. And then at the top left, there's this little search box. So if we put in the word dress, for instance, it brings up the results both on the left, as you can see, and along the bottom. So really useful. So it explains dress customs, right? Sports clothes, dungarees only for picnics, all girls dress for dinner, white uniform dress. Let's see what's on the next page. So you just click. So not much there. So it might actually be kind of fun, right? Since probably a bunch of you are from the class of 71. Why don't we look at 7071 just to see what it says under dress. Okay, we'll make it a full page again. Still loading. Okay, so it actually already brought it up. So you can see the page that says dress, right? So it says, as a general rule, the appropriateness of a student's attire will be left to her own discretion. So I'm sure current students just love this project. It's a fun thing that an English teacher came up with on his own. And we can continue exploring issues related to clothing by, for instance, looking at the Quran. We could just pick a similar year. If we scroll down, and these are all based on how they were bound together, in case you're wondering, the sort of weird years. So we'll just click on 1957 to 1960. And okay, if we, again, do a keyword search for dress. And obviously we could put in other related words like clothing or something. And the results come up on the left-hand side. So this sounds like it's describing a dance. And a lot of these, of course, are kind of fiction little articles. So we twirled her around twice. Her dress was shown up to less advantage. Okay, so there's a little bit on dress in both student handbook and the Quran. Okay, so if we go back to the main page with the Abbot Academy digital collections, we can scroll down to the photographs. So all Abbot Academy photographs have been scanned and are accessible online. via this page here. So if we scroll down, you can see here the various choices. We'll click on date just for fun and put in, why don't we just put in 1957 to 1960 just to see what comes up. Give you a sense of the variety of the material that's in here. Okay, and you can see these facets on the left, everything from sports to buildings to student activities, right? And when you actually look at the pictures, it looks like a lot of photographs of alums. But you can just jump on through and see what looks of particular interest. So there we get, you know, a prom, right? So somebody could do a comparison of dresses in proms over the years. So that's just to give you a quick example of the ways that you can search in the photographs. Okay, so we'll go back again to the Abbot Academy digital collections page. And this is the bulk of the material that the Abbot Academy Fund paid to have processed and digitized. The mostly from the archival collections. So if we scroll down, for instance, we can see a couple of collections that might be of interest. So correspondence between Don Gordon, who was principal 1968 to 1973, and students, some of whom I think had already graduated. But just as an example, this is what it looks like. We'll just click on one just so you can see what it looks like. Okay, so this is sort of the metadata or information about the letter. And then if we scroll down, we can see a really nice high resolution scan, right? And you can grab this like as if you're reading a Word document and just read it that way. So it's a 4-page letter. You can read the whole thing, zoom in, zoom out, whatever. And so all of this material, we have high resolution. I'm happy to give you high resolution photographs or material in here. Let's see. And the additional material that I wanted to quickly show you, for instance, really the definitive history of Abbot Academy was written by Sue Lloyd in 1978. It's called A Singular School. So this is online as well. And it has endless useful information, interesting information about the history of Abbot. So again, you can do a keyword search up here at the top left if you'd like. And I wanted to point out that we have a really great alumnae directory from 1829 to 1952 is online. You know, like most of them arranged geographically by class, alphabetically, right? So a lot of that's in there. There's an Abbot Academy songbook. Now this includes words, but unfortunately not the tunes. We've spent some time this spring trying to find tunes to some of these with limited success. And then there are also some recipes from the Bondies from 1970-ish. So, you know, there's a lot of amazing food in there for you to play around with. So I'm always happy to answer questions if you have questions, but I also wanted to briefly mention how the material is getting used because students and faculty have really appreciated it. So for instance, one of the really fun things that has happened during the pandemic is that Abbot Walks, which were a required part of athletics at Abbot during the 1950s and 60s, have been accepted recently, approved as an official athletics option at Phillips Academy. So that's really exciting. This is a quick scan of some of the routes that they had the girls do. A second use of the material is in an all-school meeting that we had in January 2020 on the centennial of women's suffrage. And of course, we talked extensively about the history of Abbot Academy and girls' involvement with that kind of political activism. So finally, here is my name and contact information. I'm happy to answer any questions. Feel free to let me know what I can do to improve it. So thanks a lot. And best wishes for a wonderful reunion.
Thank you so much, Paige. And I'm really sorry she couldn't be here today, but any of you that have worked with her or talked to anybody that's worked with her will tell you when she says, I'm happy to help, she really means it. So if you do need to or want to contact her, she'd love to hear from you, whether you have something to donate or you want to research something. And there was a lot of interesting things that she showed. And I was gratified that she showed the Abbot songbook because I've got some great segues here today. It's a perfect segue to our first surprise presentation. Very excited about this. We have the pleasure of the world premiere video showing, and I want to just read this because I want to get the title right. Dr. Abby Siegfried, Chair, Department Music and School Organist, directing Fidelio singing Abbot Academy's alma mater, Oh Abbot Beautiful. I think it's in Davis Hall, but I'm not sure. But it'll be 50 years since I'd heard of anybody sing it. So I'm really excited to hear it, and I know you will be too. I don't know if that was Davis Hall, but it doesn't really matter. And I don't know what the shirts were, but it was obviously Abbot blue. So there was a lot of passion and thought that went into that. And I just love that. Now I have the opportunity to introduce the breakout rooms or pass it over. But before I do, I want to tell you to stick around till the very end because we're going to have another surprise. And you will be very happy to hear this one too. And I will pass it over to the breakouts.
Perfect. Thank you, Sarah. Thank you all for joining us. And I know that socializing and being able to get together is such an important part of your reunion. And so it was very thoughtful of Sarah and Tamara to want to make sure that we include some of that in our virtual Abbot tea. So we are going to be opening breakout rooms for participants to be able to get to know each other a little bit and as if we were really together. And we hope you can take this opportunity to get to meet some new folks and introduce yourself. We will do 2 15-minute sessions so people have a chance to really mingle a little bit. And then we will come back together for a closing session. So without further ado, there's nothing you need to do on your end. We will open those up and you will be able to go to those breakout rooms. And then after that first 15-minute session, we will all come back together and then go back out. So that will happen automatically. You will get a notification that the breakout room will be closing.
Sandy.
Hi, Heidi. Hi, you were in the garden. I was too.
Oh my God, the ticks.
Oh, ick. I don't see any.
I just picked off a bunch while I'm sitting here.
Oh, gosh.
Yeah,
Oh,
you missed that.
Hi,
yeah.
Heidi. Thank you for your email response.
Hi, Cindy.
I would love to go to Lyme and see you.
That'd be great. That'd be great.
Mm.
I don't
Me too.
have a lot.
I'm here, Judy. You want to put me in speaker mode? I'm sorry, I was on mute. I was like, I'm here.
Oh, that's quite all right.
on.
Of course.
Sorry
Heidi,
about
were
that.
you on before now? I didn't see you before this minute.
What's that?
Were you on before now?
Yeah, I was in some other room. I was in room 3 and then I was in room 5 and it feels like that game Clue.
Okay, Peanut Gallery, and I can call them that because they're classmates. Sarah is finishing her emceeing job, so if you could keep it down to a dull roar, it would be really appreciated.
As long as.
And when I told Mary I was a little nervous about this, she said, just pretend you're talking to me. So Mary, I'm talking to you.
Right, honey. Mute.
I hope everybody had as good a time in the breakouts as I did. It was a lot of fun. A lot of work went into organizing the Abbot Tea. There was committees, and as you can see, students singing and Paige. But I have to call out Judy Davis from the Office of Alumni Engagement. The planners had ideas, but I think as a lot of us know at this stage in our lives, having ideas is great, but if they never happen, then really you never had an idea. So I'd like to thank Judy for making everything happen, and we really appreciate it. So thank you, Judy. I'd like to thank also all of the attendees. We noticed during a review of the list of people that initially signed up, at least, that there were a lot of Andover alumni who signed up to attend the Abbot Tea. So a special thank you to you for your interest, and we hope you enjoyed it and come back next time when we do have real tea and really good baked goods. We always have good stuff. So I just want to thank you all for clearly your support of Abbot, be you an alumni of the school or not. You know, it's really dear to our hearts, and having the notion of having the spirit and tradition that we value live on is really kind of it's wonderful, but it's kind of a comfort. It's sort of like, hey, we're really kind of leaving something behind. So I'd really like to thank you for your support. And as a special thank you, and after this, the tea will be finished. And I hope you can't hear the trucks beeping outside my New York City window.
We can.
We have another video directed by Dr. Siegfried with Fidelio singing Time Sounds a Warning Call, or better known to most of us as the Good Night song. So good night, thank you for coming, and we'll have that special song.
Great. Thank you,
Thank you
Sarah.
all. Thanks, Sarah. Thank you, Sarah.
Thanks, Sarah.
Thank you.
Sarah, thank you. We can't hear you, but thank you.
Thank you, Sarah. I'm hearing the same trucks going by.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Oh, but that's funny.
Thank you, that's right.
Thank you for
Thanks.
coming and have a great time, whatever you're doing tonight. And
I'm sure
Heidi,
we'll be able
go
to see
go
that
take a bath
accordingly.
and get the ticks and dirt off
Mhm.
from the garden.
Thank you, Sarah.
Thanks, Andy.
Thank you all.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye, everyone.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.